And speaking of how corrupt and crooked the deep state is, CNN. Have you guys seen what's been happening at CNN? In the Daily Wire, a report says, who's next on CNN chopping block after Brian Stelter was ousted? So CNN, of course, is hemorrhaging people because CNN, no one watches it. Bottom line, the axe is expected to keep swinging at CNN, where new president Chris Licht just fired longtime Reliable Sources host Brian Stelter. I love those names, Reliable Sources. And is taking aim at the network's moribund morning show, The New Day, according to a report. I love that word, moribund. The firing of Stelter came with a cryptic warning as Licht seeks to pivot from far-left editorializing programs to a more straight news approach. The change was reportedly pushed by parent company Warner Brothers Discovery chief shareholder John Malone. So John Malone owns a lot of Discovery shares, of course, a lot. And as many of you know, AT&T owned Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns HBO, and they also own, of course, CNN and other properties. Well, AT&T kept CNN intact as part of Warner Brothers when AT&T owned Warner Brothers. And, of course, by default, they own CNN. And AT&T loved the left-wing crazy nut jobs that were running CNN and that were on CNN. Problem is that AT&T was hemorrhaging money and not growing as a company because their primary business is what? Cell phones and telecommunications. So AT&T earlier this year spun off Warner Brothers and combined Warner Brothers with Discovery. And so that is the new company of which CNN is part. Problem is John Malone, who owns a lot of Discovery shares, has decided, you know what? CNN cannot stay in its current form and continue to lose money because this is now a different company that doesn't have AT&T as the big corporate giant to subsidize stuff. It needs to make money, and John Malone is a guy that wants to make money. Quote, I want to acknowledge that this is a time of significant change, and I know that many of you are unsettled, Licht reportedly told staffers on an editorial staff Friday. Licht, of course, being the guy ahead of CNN now. There will be more changes, and you might not understand it or like it. You know what's funny is when a CEO has to say this. I mean, it's like, isn't it kind of obvious CNN is a terrible network that no one watches? By definition, a good network is one which people watch. A bad one, people don't watch. So, of course, you make changes when people aren't watching your network. Why would you have to explain that to people? You have to explain that to the left, though. You do realize that. If you're a reporter on CNN, you can't imagine why things would have to change. You know, why? Why do things have to change? I don't understand. Why is it necessary that people even watch us? Everybody I know likes what I do. RadarOnline.com reported that New Day, the show started by Licht's predecessor, Jeff Zucker, is circling the drain. It will be replaced by a roundtable type program patterned after MSNBC's Morning Joe. Oh, God. Possibly hosted by Jake Tapper, according to Radar Online. Licht has reportedly tried to hire Morning Joe husband-wife hosts Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski away from the rival liberal cable news network. Chris comes from the same breeding ground as Zucker, morning television, a CNN insider told Radar Online. He wants to establish a popular morning show that sets the agenda for the network each day. He doesn't want to change anchors frequently. He wants strength and stability and believes it all starts in the all-important morning time slot. Zucker launched New Day in 2013 with hosts Chris Cuomo, we know what happened to him, Katie Bolduan, and Michaela Pereira. Blue-pilled former Fox News host Allison Camerata later joined the show, but was replaced as well. The current lineup includes Brianna Kaler and John Berman. The changes come after Licht told CNN staffers over the summer that he understood the network had undergone a lot of changes in a short amount of time after Jeff Zucker was fired from his role leading the company. And by the way, podcast listeners, as all of you know, CNN had this issue and has had this issue for the past year where people keep falling like flies because they're engaged in pornography or pedophilia or worse. And CNN has known all this has been occurring under AT&T's ownership, and AT&T covered it all up and looked the other way. And now that AT&T has spun off CNN, the truth is finally coming out, namely that these people are predators. They're bad people. You would never watch them because you would never respect them, number one. And number two, that the CNN company just doesn't make any money. In fact, it loses a ton of money. So you're going to need to make all these changes. And so the big question is, who will be next on CNN? What will they do? How will they actually survive? How will they actually make money? I don't know what the answer to that question is, but I will tell you this. Maybe they should just start reporting what's happening. Not opining, not editorializing, just report what's happening. Not fine. I mean, Donald Trump's house was raided today by X amount of FBI agents. There's not a lot of information as to why they did that. The court order has been sealed, and as we learn more information, we'll provide it to you. That would be fine. That'd be a fair report because it would be, kind of just the news. But they don't want to do that at CNN. CNN is a propaganda arm of the Democrat Party, but also of the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, without question.